Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. James Gunn just released that first Superman trailer, and one of the bigger surprises is that between the trailer footage in this newest episode of Creature Commandos, they also revealed what's going on with the new versions of The Flash, multiple new Flashes in the DC movies. The producers did confirm that there will be multiple versions of The Flash running around in the DC movies. Speaking of which, Gustin also reposted the trailer. He's a friend of James Gunn's and has talked about coming back in the upcoming DC movies. I'll explain that later in the video because it's kind of a separate thing. If you haven't been watching Creature Commandos, all the TV shows are meant to be canon to the live-action movies, so anything that they introduce on the animated shows or the live-action TV shows is canon to the movies. So that's why some of the details about what's going on with the upcoming versions of the new Flash in the DC universe come from both the TV shows and from the movie trailers. Some of these were hidden in the footage a little bit better than others. One of the current DC producers had to actually confirm a couple details for me. We'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's going to be a bunch of big stuff coming up. Obviously, most of their focus right now for the movie stuff is just the upcoming Superman movie, but there'll be more TV show stuff happening soon too, like the Green Lantern series, what's going on with Creature Commandos right now. This is all still meant to be very early days, like the very beginning of James Gunn's reboot, DCU. But the first big confirmation, and this shouldn't be necessary, but we should say it anyway, the main new Flash will not be Ezra Miller. He is cooked as the Flash, like he is done.
My name is Ezra Miller, and I am criminally excited to be a part of the Justice League.
The bigger confirmation about what's going on with the Flash during the upcoming movies and TV shows started with Creature Commandos this week, because technically that released before the Superman trailer, but like they released on the same day. And this isn't meant to be a coincidence, like James Gunn did this on purpose. There's a bunch of Justice League stuff happening during the recent Creature Commandos episode that confirms some big stuff about the upcoming movies. But he also kind of does that with some Easter eggs in the Superman trailer. So like they're doing all these big info dumps about the future of the DCU on the same day. If you haven't seen the recent Creature Commandos episode, I've been doing full breakdowns of all the Easter eggs and all the episodes, but there was one detail in that recent episode I was not sure about, and it was the Wally West Flash. This had to be confirmed by one of the producers. I blame this on like super blurry background details, but they kind of do that on purpose because they don't want to nail themselves into a corner about the exact looks of what their suits are going to be in the future. But the whole who of it all, like which characters, is the important part of this. So this producer explained that Wally West was featured in the background of this scene of all the Justice League characters and other big DC characters who had been killed by Princess Rostovik. If you haven't been watching Creature Commandos, it's a great adult animation series. They do a lot of world building for the live-action DC movies, especially with the wider, bigger characters and lore, like super deep cuts, what's going on in the present day of the DC universe. Whole lot of Wonder Woman Easter eggs too, because we haven't seen her in live action yet, so it is interesting to see them starting to set the character up on the animated shows. This scene, though, was meant to be Cersei showing the future to Amanda Waller, and this is all meant to be canon to the live-action movie. So this is meant to be the future of the live-action movies that Amanda Waller is seeing. As you can see there, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, pretty much all the DC superheroes for the most part are dead. R.I.P. One of the bodies, though, according to the producer, this one here in the background, super blurry, so like you can barely tell who it is supposed to be Wally West. I had to do a little bit of digging about this because there were a lot of quotes about this online this morning, but there were a lot of misquotes about what the producer said, like the context for what he was explaining with Wally West. What he was actually saying is that he was confirming Wally West, but he was responding to a question about the upcoming live-action Teen Titans movie that James Gunn and DC are making in the present day of the DC universe. So if you didn't hear the news a while ago, they dropped that they were doing a new live-action Teen Titans movie. No idea when that's going to be released, but they are working on one. Apparently, this now sort of confirms in the background, Wally West will be on that team. Notice his costume, though. This is one of the versions of his Kid Flash costume. Wally West was still Kid Flash when he was on the Teen Titans. Later, he became the main version of the Flash. In the more recent comics, with all the different reboots, have kind of confused the lore, like the way things happen, the order that things are happening. Originally, Wally West was Kid Flash to Barry Allen's main Flash, but then during Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry sacrificed himself and was thought to have died. That's when Wally West took the mantle of the main Flash and he just became the new Flash. He was the main Flash in DC Comics for a long time, but then eventually, like Jeff Johns, for example, brought Barry Allen back in the comics. Now in the present day of the comics, you have many different versions of the Flash family running around all at the same time. But because this is meant to be a live-action Teen Titans movie teaser in the upcoming present day of the DC movies, and he's wearing his Kid Flash costume, that means that the new main Justice League Flash is going to be Barry Allen again. The first time I saw the news, I thought the producer was actually saying that Wally West was going to be the new main Flash on the Justice League, and it'd be more like the animated version of Justice League, because Michael Rosenbaum was on that TV show playing Wally West as the main Flash.
I was the voice of the Flash for 10 years.
If you never watched that, the show is awesome, and there are a lot of vibes for the animated Justice League show in the Superman trailer, which is why a lot of people were thinking that the new version of James Gunn's Justice League will more closely resemble that animated Justice League. But it sounds like in the upcoming movies, just based on what this producer is saying, that Wally West will still be a younger Kid Flash, and the Teen Titans team will still be a little bit younger, like they'll be actual teens that form together. The last time we saw live-action Wally West was on the Flash TV show, but he was meant to be like a slightly different version of the character. The Flash TV show changed a lot of the canon. Speaking of which, though, even though I do think that James Gunn is going to recast a brand new actor as his Barry Allen and his Wally West, Grant Gustin did say that he was friends with James Gunn. He'd be totally happy to come back as the Flash in upcoming DC movies, and he reposted that Superman trailer.
If James Gunn were to ask you to play the Flash again, would you do it?
James Gunn asked me to play a Flash. Yeah, I trust James Gunn.
So it just sounds like he is super jazzed up about James Gunn's upcoming DC movies. My assumption is if he does come back in some sort of cameo scene, it'll be like a non-Flash cameo scene, like it'll be Grant Gustin showing up in the background of a shot somewhere. Still a little salty that they didn't include him in some sort of cameo scene or even a reference during the Flash movie. Grant Gustin says that they didn't even contact him about that. But here's where we get to the Superman trailer Easter egg for Flash-related stuff. This one was a little bit harder to spot, and just because the trailers online tend to be compressed heavily on the platforms where they post them, like YouTube compresses the footage a lot. There are a couple characters, including Superman, Jimmy Olsen, a cop, even Lois Lane, all reading the same newspaper, and on the cover, there's an article that reads, "Hammer of Boravia creates havoc downtown." Now, Boravia is the place in the trailer where you see this war happening where the little kid hoists the Superman flag asking for his help. So it sounds like during the movie, there's some ongoing conflict or some war going on in that country. Within the DC universe, it's meant to be a European country. And everyone seems to think this picture, the hammer that is spoken of creating all this havoc, is of Gorilla Grodd. Some people also think that it's just a cloud of smoke, and here's where we get to the compression artifacts problem. Like, even you watching my video here, YouTube compressed it like 3 or 4 more additional times because this is based on the original trailer, so it's been compressed again and again a couple different times. So the way it looks in my trailer here is probably like an actual black blob. But if you look at a nice, shiny, crisp 4K version of this scene, it actually looks much more like an arm attached to a big body, like a gorilla's body. So it is possible that there's going to be like a background Easter egg for Gorilla Grodd in the movie. I'm not expecting Superman to like full-on fight him during the movie. Like, I don't think Gorilla Grodd is a big character in the Superman movie. James Gunn said a lot of the movie is just going to have a lot of table setting for the wider DC universe. Like, there are many heroes and many villains that are active around the DC world. So it makes sense that Gorilla Grodd is somewhere else in the world running around causing problems. The other connection, bringing this back around to Creature Commandos, is that in that episode where they show the flash forward to the Justice League all dead with all these other DC characters, Gorilla Grodd is behind a lot of that. So during the Creature Commandos episode, they already canonized him to the wider DC universe just because all that stuff is meant to be canon to live action. If you haven't read the Flash comics or you never watched the Flash TV show, Gorilla Grodd is just one of the Flash's biggest villains. He was featured many, many times during the Flash TV show. Like, for a while there, they almost had him on every single year. It sounds like we will see more of him in live action in some upcoming movies, but they didn't say where. The reason why you haven't seen James Gunn talking more about the Flash recently of the DC movies is because the Flash movie debacle just happened a couple years ago. Like, Ezra Miller just left. The wound is still fresh. Also, the Flash TV show with Grant Gustin just ended recently. It almost ran for 10 years, so James Gunn is just giving it a beat to let all the Flash characters rest. Just give time for the dust to clear before he reintroduces a whole bunch of Flash canon inside the DCU. My assumption is that we'll start seeing more Easter eggs for this Barry Allen and this new Wally West Flash in the background of the movies and the TV shows over the next couple of years. we probably won't actually see one of them on screen for like 3 more years at least, and then it might even just be a background thing. It might even not be till the next Teen Titans movie, whenever that winds up coming out, but they might delay that movie at some point. I do not think James Gunn is going to try for a Flash movie for a good long while. Brand new version of Wonder Woman in the DCU is also a good example that he has not talked about her that much at all. We have no idea who she's going to be played by. And even though there's a ton of Easter eggs for her in the Creature Commandos episode, sort of world building Themyscira, the Amazons, they have not specifically mentioned Wonder Woman yet on that show. Nobody in any of the DC stuff that's currently canon to the DCU has mentioned Wonder Woman existing yet. So I think we'll probably hear about her before we hear about, say, like Barry Allen Flash or Wally West Flash. But everyone, let me know in the comments below, who do you want to play this new Barry Allen Flash on the new Justice League eventually, and who do you want to play this Wally West Kid Flash in the upcoming Teen Titans movie? There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. We'll get more Superman trailer footage pretty soon, probably another big Super Bowl trailer too. Of course, I will do all the videos for it. I literally just did a couple videos because there's so many Easter eggs. Click here for that, and click here for the other video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.